Life ain't easy. Connecting all those different devices can be daunting. Consumer, semi-pro, pro, broadcast, microphones, guitar pedals, turntables, keyboards, modern, vintage, non-Western gear, and of course different modular synthesizers, some of which are line level, like Buchla, and some, like Eurorack, are hot. Very hot. So let me share with you my experience interfacing Eurorack systems with audio interfaces and sound mixers.
Station 252.
My first Eurorack system was connected directly to my Fireface 800. It was sufficient enough for a minute. Later, I went through a bunch of Mackie mixers, VLZ2 1202, Onyx and an old CR1604. But pretty quickly I've realized that I'm slamming the headroom on my channels. And those kind of mixers are not really capable of doing that in a nice way, with the exception of the old CR1604 that was very good in this department, but extremely basic regarding its output capabilities. No groups, no parallel mix output made it impossible to record live shows. Anyway, I opted for my first output module that converted hot Eurorack signals to line level. Strangely enough, it was, well, kind of an orthodox choice, but I've used Doppler A138D, an effects insert module. At some point my system grew, inevitable, and I needed more than just one single output. So I bought an unbalanced NWS module that has 8 outputs and 8 inputs, a super convenient way to handle your multiple Eurorack signals and use the inputs to send signals back from the mixer or the computer back into the modular, and I could use my ZDSP as a studio effects processor. Now I have 3 ZDSPs, so I'm pretty happy with the results. At this time I've moved to Mackie VLZ3 1604. A good mixer, especially considering the output options. I could record 16 post-fader outputs into my computer, and this is exactly what I needed. And I'm still working like that up to this day, except I limited myself to just 8 outputs. More on that in the following videos. Anyway, that setup worked for a while. Unfortunately, I have plenty of experience using high-end audio gear and was constantly searching for a setup that would sound very close to what I know my Eurorack system is capable of. Next step was to improve my output module, and I opted for the best there is, the ACL audio interface, 2-in 2-out module with line level XLR connectors and a really good quality headphone amplifier. And I mean that the sound quality of that module is exceptionally good, but there is a catch. The price for 8 channels and the space they take was just unreasonable, because everything I do should fit in an overhead compartment in the airplane and be on the affordable side of gear due to the dangers of the life on the road. One day I received the simplest module Tiptop Audio have ever made. The total opposite of what I would consider high-end audio. At least that's what I thought. You see, it's a passive 6 HP module that does absolutely nothing, but it managed to make my life that much easier. It simplified the way I connect my systems to the mixer. It also made it much easier to connect two systems together. It is essentially an 8-channel Eurorack patch bay. I can keep my mini jack to quarter-inch jack cables permanently connected to the system outputs and auxiliary sends. I can conveniently hide all my interconnecting cables behind the systems. I just run 8 patch cables from one WAYOUT8 to another WAYOUT8 in the other system and patch anything: audio, CV, gates, trigger, whatever. Stack cables are great for that because they are properly shielded audio cables, not computer network cables, not computer ribbon cables, true audio cables. 8 cables aren't as cheap, but neither is your Eurorack system. It makes no sense to spend so much money on a great sounding system and use cables that were not designed for the purpose. So what would you ask? It's just like running a cable off the module to the mixer. Isn't that what you've started with? Indeed, that's true, but with a major difference. And that is the key. I am no longer using Mackie mixer, but something quite different. A mixer I wanted to try for at least 10 years. Probably more, 12 maybe, but just never came across one. APB Dynasonics ProRack H1020. It's not cheap, but I would say it is fairly priced, considering how it sounds. Anyway, back to the topic. It has preamps that are just great, with tons of headroom, punchy, clean and very healthy sounding. And the line inputs can be padded. Yep, minus 26 dB pad. That is perfect for Eurorack. And as WAYOUT8 has no electronics to mess with the sound, I can hear the actual sound of my system. And it is beautiful. Don't worry if you cannot afford the APB just yet. Your audio interface might have padded line inputs. My Fireface UC has 4 padded line inputs. Unfortunately only 4, the other 4 are just that. Straight, no gain, no attenuation, no good. Good for line level, not good for Eurorack. So, conclusion, Eurorack can connect directly after all, but you have to plug it into a sufficiently attenuated line input. Do not skip on quality when considering preamplifiers. You'll be fine for a while with an affordable alternatives, but most of your analog and digital instruments sound so much better than that. And of course, check out the WAYOUT8, just like MISO mix and word scale offset module. You won't think you need one until you actually use it. Then it becomes irreplaceable. I have 2 WAYOUT8s and I will get 2 more as soon as I can. you for watching and keep on patching.